Asher abete perro begerto. Yeta perro begelo que comin. Bakarnish beaderto. Yish beabegelo que comin. Genesh hacho hatarota arushanoto. Benki.
Shalom, shalom. Miss Blakah is Aki Ariyah or Ari or Araya. And Shabbat Shalom, family. Hope everybody's enjoying their Shabbat today. And so I have another video that I'm going to do today. And this was inspired because of a group that my wife used to be in on Facebook, that when they found out that she started learning Hebrew and don't believe in like the New Testament Messiah and all the other kind of stuff, they started, acting all funny, gossiping, starting other groups and talking, gossiping and all that type of stuff. But when I get on the line, all the men tuck tail and run and whatnot. They don't want to debate. They don't want to talk about it. But they ask questions and I answer them. So one of the questions was, can you keep the Passover in? Can you keep the Passover outside the land? And I told them no. They disagreed, blah, 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 blah. But I'm going to show you guys today that you cannot keep the Passover outside the land. The only thing you can keep outside the land is the Shabbat. All right, so we're going to cover Numbers 9 because they brought up Numbers 9. I'm going to show that it was a one-time thing and why it's not a general rule. I'm going to show you, did they keep the Passover for 39 years in the wilderness? Is the Passover kept at a fixed place? We're going to go into Joshua, Amos, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel as witnesses. And when did the Torah become active? And did Ezra and Nehemiah repeat the process? All right, so we're going to go into all these things, then we'll have the summary afterwards. Let's see here. So first we're going to go into Exodus 12. It says, for the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass when ye be come to the land which the Lord will give you, according as he hath promised, that ye shall keep this service. So here they are told in Egypt, once they come into the land, you shall keep this as a service. All right, this is in Egypt. This is not in the wilderness. This is not anywhere. This is it while they're in Egypt before they even left. You see here a restriction is set in place before they even leave Egypt. Now, the next time after Egypt, when they kept the Passover, the next time you see them keeping the Passover is in Numbers 9. And this was the verse that the brother said, Numbers 9, 1 through 5. See, they kept it in the wilderness of Sinai. Yes, they did. It was the anniversary. It was a one-time deal. And we're going to show you this all throughout this video. So, and the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at evening you shall keep it in his appointed season. According to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof shall ye keep it. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at evening in the wilderness of Sinai. According to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel. So right here we see the Most High commanded Israel to keep the Passover in the wilderness in the first month on the 14th day. So he gave them a command and told them to actually keep it. This is a one-time covenant command tied to Sinai. It is the first anniversary of the Exodus. That's why we read Exodus 12. So you can see the same thing. 14th day of the first month. Keep the Passover. And so how do we know this to be true? So let's go into it. So was Numbers 9 a one-time thing? So we have right here in the wilderness, right? In the wilderness. And what is that? Bemidbar, Seba, Bemidbar, Sinai. I'm sorry, baby bar Sinai. So Bed bar means wilderness, and you have the prepositional bet right here, right, which means in. So you have midbar right here that means, which is the root word, which is the wilderness, and then you have Sinai. So you have Bed midbar Sinai, which is in the wilderness. That phrase is time anchored, right? Not law anchored. Why? Because he's telling you right here that you have to keep in mind that a lot of this stuff in Genesis, Exodus, and Numbers, it is written in narration form in third person. So you have to understand that. Okay, this is showing a chronological marker with the narrative, right? Remember, it is written in the third person, right? Because it is. This is this is when it happened, not this is where it can't always be done. So when you see in Numbers 9 where it says in the wilderness of Sinai, it's just giving you a marker of chronology, showing you that this is where it happened. You know, it's not telling you that, okay, you can follow this and do this every single time, right? Then we have Wedeber Yahweh, right? And spoke Yahweh. It is written in the PL stem form, so it's intensifying the Most High's words, right? So now, let's go. Number 9 and 1 gives the timestamp like we just kind of showed. In the second year, in the first month after they came out of Egypt. So it was 1 year after the Exodus. It was the second year in the first month after they came out of Egypt, right? So they had already been out of Egypt 1 year and they hadn't did the Passover yet. But they did it in the second year coming out of Egypt. 1 year after the Exodus. So which would be the second year after the Exodus, I'm sorry. They are at Sinai, obedient, still under full covenant status, right? So what was the covenant? And I will bring you into the land which I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I will give it to you a heritage. I am Yahweh, right? I need Yahweh. That's what he says. I need Yahweh. You see it right here. I am Yahweh. Not Ahia, not Yahuwah, none of that. I am Yahweh. So we see here that the covenant was the land for a morasa, right? A morasa, which is a possession, right? Which means possession, aka a heritage. This covenant was established in Genesis 15. Go back to Genesis chapter 15 and read it and check it out. Now, let's go look when the covenant breaks. So we go to Numbers chapter 14. We see the break of the covenant. And let's go ahead and read verse 21 in Numbers 14. But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swore unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. So the covenant was to bring him into the land, and now he's breaking the covenant because he's saying that this generation will not see the land. So that covenant is broken for that generation. So now the covenant is broken with this generation. That is why they cannot see the land. 10 times they tempted the Most High, and he had enough and temporarily suspended the covenant till that generation died away. This is the moment Israel becomes rejected, condemned to die, cut off from inheritance. And this is after Numbers 9, because it's Numbers 14. This is after they did the anniversary of the Passover. So continue. The covenant continues, right? The covenant breaks in the wilderness continued. Numbers 15. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land of your habitations, which I give unto you, right? So he just said, when you come into the land of your habitations, which you are about to get, right? Israel had just been told they cannot enter the land. Now is this shift to the future generation, right? Now Moses is talking to the future generation. He ain't talking to the older generation, to the generation that he's ready for the rest of them to die off. Why? Because those kids that were under, what was it, 20 and under, that survived, they will be having kids now. So it doesn't mean that their fathers and their parents' generation, all of them are dead yet. Some of them are still alive. But those kids of that generation are now having kids and grandkids. So Moses is speaking to them. Deuteronomy 16 and 5. right? Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction. For thou comest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coast. 7 days, still talking about the land. Neither shalt thou anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest the first day at evening remain all night until the morning. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in. There thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at evening, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou comest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast it and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go into thy tents. Here again, they are told what not to do while in the wilderness. So that is 2 witnesses per the law that they were warned pre-entry of the land. So this is the exception, not the rule. We have before the land, wilderness exception. After entering the land, only at Yahweh's chosen place. Now, they also use Joshua, but what they didn't understand is that Joshua 5 and 10 happened at Gilgal and Jericho. Those are Canaanite cities. That's not in the wilderness of Sinai. That is actually in the land of Israel. So much deep in the land of Israel that is in modern day Israel, Jericho and Gilgal. Those are Canaanite cities. So let's read Joshua 5 and 10. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war which came out of Egypt were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord swore that he would not show them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers that he would give us, a land that floweth with milk and honey. And their children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, because they had not circumcised them by the way. So when it says by the way, it's talking about on the journey in the wilderness. Why? Because the Most High wasn't dealing with them. And I'm going to show you how the Most High wasn't dealing with them in the wilderness, because he told you that he gave them up to statutes that wasn't good. And we're going to go into, and I'm going to show you that. We're going to go into Ezekiel 20, and we're going to go into Psalms 106. And I'm going to show you those things, exactly what they were doing in the wilderness, why the Most High had turned his back on them, and the reason why they wandered for 39 years, 40 years. All right. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their places in the camp till they were whole. And the Lord said unto Joshua, this day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from off of you. Because they still had the reproach of Egypt. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgal unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped at Gilgal, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at evening in the plains of Jericho. So see, this is the very next time that they keep the Passover, since Numbers 9. All right. And they are in the land. That's 39 years. They did not keep the Passover. And they did eat of the old corn of the land, right? Because you're coming into the land. You come now the contract is coming into effect again. On the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the same way. See, they were eating the food and the fruit of the land now. They weren't in the wilderness. The manna stopped ceasing, right? The manna stopped ceasing, now they're eating the fruit of their heritage now. So now you're in your land, you're eating the fruit of your heritage. You can offer your sacrifices and keep the Passover now. So those teaching to keep the Passover outside the land that is globally right now are in error. They're teaching you a grievous sin, a grievous error. And the manna ceased on the morrow after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Why does it specifically say of the land? Because it's showing you that the covenant is coming into effect now. Neither had the children of Israel manna anymore, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. See, They now are coming back up under the covenant that has been suspended, but for the wicked generation, and now the new generation, the future generation, is now come up under the covenant. They circumcise themselves and they encamp, and they're eating of the old corn and eating of the land of Canaan, and they're keeping the Passover. So the covenant is back restored again. So what Joshua 5 proves about the Passover? Joshua 5 was kept in the wilderness in the land of Israel. Gilgal and Jericho were both Canaanite cities. There is no other mentioning of them keeping Passover outside the land of Israel after Numbers 9 or wilderness-style Passovers after Joshua 5. But that was inside the land. Only once. Only one instance. And that's when they did the anniversary 2 years in the second year after leaving Egypt. Okay, so why did they not keep the Passover during the 39 years? Amos 5 and 25, it backs that up. He says, sacrifices and offerings did you offer me in the wilderness 40 years, house of Israel? This is a rhetorical question. The Most High asks through Amos a question that he immediately answers in the next verse. So let's go look at the next verse, 26. And you carry Sikkoth, your king, and Chiun, your idols, the star of your gods, which you made for yourselves. So what is Sikkoth? Sikkoth is an idolatrous booth or tabernacle. And scholars are not sure if this is referencing a shrine or is a proper name for a deity. But either way it goes, it was idolatrous. What is Chiun? Chiun is a statue or idol, also a heathen deity. All right, so but Chiun corresponds to Baal Peor and to Priapus, right? And you see back all throughout the time when the Moabites and Israel sinned with Moab and joined themselves to Baal Peor, right? So, like I said, Most High gave him 10 chances. After that, he was like, you know what? Screw this generation. Let them give them up to whatever. All right, so is there another witness besides Amos? Yes, we have Jeremiah 7 and 22. For I spoke not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, concerning burnt offerings and sacrifices. But this thing I commanded them, saying, obey my voice, and I will be your God, and ye shall be my people, and walk in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. But they hearkened not, nor inclined their ear, but walked in the counsels and the imaginations of their evil heart, and went backward and not forward. This also denies wilderness and global generational sacrificial covenant with the 40-year wicked generation, right? So where in the Torah does it show this? I'm glad that y'all asked. So let me go ahead and show y'all. In the Torah records it in Numbers 25. And Israel abode at Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And the Lord said unto Moshe, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay every one of his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. Here we see the wicked generation joining unto the Moabites gods, making sacrifices and joining in whatever they do. Israel engages in ritual sex, child sacrifice, and Moabite worship. This is not symbolic. It is ritual appeasement of the Moabites gods. Right? And as you can see, Moses told them to chop off the heads of the people. Chop them off. And hang them up before the Lord against the sun. Right? So that's what Moses told them to do. Now, where else does the Torah record it? In Deuteronomy 12, verses 29 through 31, the Most High warns them. When the Lord thy God shall cut off, when Moses warns them, he says in verse 29, when the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whether thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself, that be not snared by following them. After that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto thy Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. So here we see Yahweh warns, do not inquire after their gods, for they burn their sons and daughters in the fire. Why warn Israel, right? Because Israel had begun doing it. Now, let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and 17. They start at verse 16. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Elohim, to gods whom they knew not. To new gods they came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten Elohim that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred him, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is zero faith. No faith. This is what Israel was doing at the Kadesh, when the covenant was broken. The word for devils is shadim. It means spirit powers, or beings that receive offerings. This is the same category as goat demons, Leviticus 17 and 7, spirits behind pagan deities, etc. This was stated after the Kadesh rebellion, and it describes Israel's behavior during the 40-year march. They were cut off in Numbers 14, but they still kept sacrificing, just not to Yahweh, right? And the Kadesh rebellion was Korah and all of them. So Israel was not merely worshiping statues, they were offering sacrifices to spiritual entities. So why did this happen? When Israel was sentenced to die in the wilderness, something terrifying happened, right? They lost covenant protection, so they did what all pagan people do. They tried to appease fate with offerings, right? And that's what all pagan people do. Keep in mind, Israel is learning the Torah, but they still have that pagan Egyptian mindset. This is why Ezekiel 20 and 25 says, I gave them statues that were not good. Right? So what does he mean by that? You know, we automatically know that the Most High said in Deuteronomy that there is no nation that has statutes and laws like this one, right? So, of course, Yahweh did not give them statutes. What Yahweh is saying there, and what Ezekiel is saying that Yahweh has said there, is that since they refused to worship him alone, then he allowed them to be ensnared by the statues and the false powers of the people that they were lands that they were passing through, because their heart was far from him. They worshiped him with their lips, but their hearts were far from him. Kind of like today when people say, "Oh, I love Yah," but Christ, Yahushua, Yahweh, whatever. It's kind of like that today. The exact same thing. So he like, okay, you just refuse to do what I say do. 10 times you disobeyed me. 10 times you stuck your middle finger up to me. So now I'm just gonna let you know what I'm saying, just give you over. I'm just wash my hands with you, and just wait for the next generation to come up and deal with them. You see that several times when he told Moses, "Get out the way, Moses. I'm finna kill them all and start Israel all over with you." Okay, so the Most High he's not playing. That's why I tell people he is obey or die. Right? So the Most High let them fall into panic religion. The same thing today with Christ. The people fell into panic religion. You know, the people are falling to panic religion, you know, belief in Christ. Because the first thing they want to say, but what about your sacrifices? Well, you don't have no salvation. You know what I'm saying? It's the exact same thing. Different gods. So right here, Ezekiel 25, and therefore also I gave them up to statutes not that were good, and judgments not that could live by which, right? And today's Shabbat Parsha Moreh spoke on this right here, and he talked about it. And so I would suggest y'all to go listen to Moreh's Shabbat lesson on this right here, and how he ties this into, you know, America does the same thing, you know, with taxes and this and all this other kind of stuff. The Most High, that's why I say it's the exact same thing going on right now. The Most High has given us over to statutes that are not good, you know, which are the nation statutes and stuff like that, because you my brother and sister, and y'all refuse to listen to us, to knock only Israelites. Y'all refuse it, right? So right here we have the word lo, right? Lo. Why is it highlighted? It's because it is a negative participle adverb. In this context, it means not. So what is a negative participle? It is a versatile verbal adjective that acts like a verb, adjective, or noun, often expressing continuous action like English ing forms, right? Example, running, studying, and taking on gender number, but functioning adverbally to describe how something happens. Bitterly crying is an example, or as an accusative of situation, showing ongoing state. It is a non-finite verb form with verbal voice tense reference and nominal gender number features, allowing it to modify nouns or function as a main description with active and passive forms available. This is why you need to learn Hebrew grammar. Now, how does this connect to child sacrifice, right? We see Deuteronomy 32, Psalms 106, and Ezekiel 20. Psalms 106, 37 to 38 explains they sacrificed their sons and daughters to demons. This is the same Shadim of Deuteronomy 32. So Israel burned children, offered firstborn, made blood offerings, not to Yahweh, but to spirits. That is exactly what Ezekiel 20 and 26 means. Now, let's go ahead and read Psalms 106. We're going to start at verse 28. They joined themselves unto Baal Peor and ate the sacrifices of the dead. Thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague broke in upon them. This is Deuteronomy, okay? I'm sorry, Deuteronomy. Then stood up Phinehas and executed judgment, so the plague was stayed, and that this is Psalms 106, and that was counted unto him for righteousness unto all generations forevermore. They angered him also at the waters of strife, so that it went ill with Moses for their sakes, because they provoked his spirit, so that he spake unadvisedly with his lips. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen. Right? So that right there tells you right there that they mingled with the Canaanites and learned their works, and the Moabites. And they learned their works, how to sacrifice to their gods, their secret things, their culture, pretty much their culture. And they served their idols, right? Eating food sacrificed to the idols. You know what I'm saying? This is a celebration on this day of this God. We're going to XYZ. Which were a snare unto them. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood. Thus were they defiled with their own works, and went a whoring with their own inventions. Now let's go back to Amos 25 and 25. Did you bring me sacrifices in the wilderness? The answer is no, because what they brought was to demons. So Amos gave us proof that they did not keep Passover nor festivals for 39 years wandering the wilderness, and proves that number 9 was just an anniversary of leaving Egypt and remembering the works the Most High performed. Now, let's go to Ezra and Nehemiah and show you how they repeated the process. All right, so the first thing they do is rebuild the altar and not the walls. And when the 7th month was come and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. Now people are gathering to Jerusalem. They've been free because they haven't been keeping the Passover in Persia either, or Babylon either. Then stood up Jeshua, son of Jehozadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the God of Israel, and offer burnt offerings thereon, as it was written in the law of Moses, the man of God, man of Elohim. And they set the altar upon his basis, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereof unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. Then they kept the feast. They kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of the everyday required. Ezra 3 and 4. They kept the Feast of Booths, as written. This was the first lawful feast since Solomon. Why? Because they are back in the land, the altar exists, the priests are present, the covenant system is being restored. The same thing with Joshua, and that's why it says in Nehemiah that not such a Passover was kept since the days of Joshua the Nun, and we'll get to that. Now then, they lay the temple foundation. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with their trumpets, and the Levites and the son of Asaph with cymbals to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. And they sang together by course in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endureth forever toward Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. So see, now they lay the foundation of the house of the Most High, only after altar, feast, temple. This is the same order as David and Solomon. Nehemiah completes the restoration, the national restoration. And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths, and sat under the booths. Since for the days of Joshua son of Nun unto that day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness. Also day by day, from the first day unto the last day, he read in the book of the law of Elohim. And they kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day was a solemn assembly according to the manner. So what do we see right here? Nehemiah 8, so Ezra reads the Torah, the people weep, they keep Sukkot properly for the first time since Joshua, right? Nehemiah 8 and 17 is what we just read. That means no one, not David, not Solomon, not the kings, ever kept it correctly until now, because exile had been broken. The feast system had been broken for 800 years. Now it is restored. Because what does it say? For since the days of Joshua the son of Nun unto that day, the day that Nehemiah and Ezra did it, had not the children of Israel done so. So what do I mean by David and Solomon didn't keep it properly? Even though they kept Passover and held festivals, they did not keep Sukkot according to the written Torah. That is nationwide participation, Torah reading, full covenant renewal. David and Solomon did keep feasts, but not this way. Solomon kept Sukkot, 1 Kings 8 and 2, 2 Chronicles 7, 8 through 10. But Nehemiah 8 is not saying Sukkot never happened. It is saying it was never kept in full Torah form. Nehemiah 8 includes Torah read publicly, the booths being built by all the people, national repentance, covenant renewal. Those elements never appear together in Kings or Chronicles. And if I'm wrong, put it below in the comments and show me where it does. So what did Joshua do that David did not? Joshua 8:30 through 35. Joshua built an altar, he read the Torah, he renewed the covenant, and gathered all Israel. Nehemiah 8 is modeled directly on Joshua 8. David and Solomon never did a nationwide Torah reading or Torah reading Sukkot. They had temple worship, but not Torah restoration. So why does Nehemiah make this comparison? Nehemiah is saying this is the first time since Joshua that Israel has truly returned to Torah. Not just festivals, but covenant obedience. David and Solomon had glory. Nehemiah had repentance. And so here we have the chart, right? We have the step that they did, and we have David and Solomon and Ezra and Nehemiah. So we have the step that chose a place, Zion for David and Solomon, Ezra and Nehemiah, Jerusalem, which is pretty much the same thing. David built the altar. Ezra built the altar. Solomon built the house. Zerubbabel built the house. Nobody, David nor Solomon, read the Torah, but Ezra read the Torah. Solomon and David kept the feast, and then Nehemiah and Zerubbabel and Ezra and them kept the feast. So this is a comparison chart right here. So the conclusion of the matter. Numbers 9 records a one-time Passover at Sinai before Israel rebelled at Kadesh. After Numbers 14, Israel was placed under covenant judgment and sentenced to die in the wilderness. Amos 5 and 25 show they did not bring Yahweh true sacrifices during those years. Deuteronomy 32:17 and Ezekiel 20:25-26 reveal that they instead offered polluted sacrifices to Shadim, spirit powers. That means the normal Torah system was suspended. Numbers 9 therefore cannot justify keeping Passover outside the land. The feast system only operates when Israel has land, altar, and priesthood. That is correct. And so again, like I said, this was brought up in the conversation with the brothers because they would not hear me out. They immediately cut me off and disagreed, this and that, and closed their ears up and this and that and all types of stuff. So now it became a lesson for all of you guys. This is why you are not to keep the Passover. If you're going to keep the Passover, travel to Israel. Don't do it here. All right, it is grievous sin. All right, it will be on your record, on your books of life. All right, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but this is why I tell people to learn the Hebrew and to if your teachers are not going into the Hebrew and breaking down the words and syntax, and I'm not talking about the sheresh root or the root of the word, I mean the final form of the word and showing the prepositions, the stem forms, and etc., then you most likely don't need to be following them because they haven't done the due diligence. It shows laziness on their part. All right, it is what it is. People can get offended, they can get mad, but it is what it is. All right, so if I was able to edify you, please leave a comment below, hit the like button, let us know what you agree with, let us know what you disagree with, let us know any new information that we were able to edify you with and that you learned today. All right, and please hit the thumbs up button or hit the thumbs down button, it doesn't matter, but the algorithm is shadow banning us, so the only way we can get into the algorithm and start getting this widespread is if you either share the video or if you go and hit the thumbs up button on the video and on the post that we post on the community tab. And don't forget to check out the community tab. We have a lot of articles and posts on there and different types of things and videos that will be up and coming that we're going to drop. We have a slew of presentations done. We just need to do the videos. So we'll be posting more. So until the next video, you guys enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Lihitorot Bisbaka. And peace and blessings, family. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
Asher abete perro begerto, yeta perro begelo que comin. Bacarnis beaderto, yirs beabegelo que comin. Genes hajo catarrota arrosanoto, bequinis atarro meganai. Asher hamita berro begeroto, yitem perro begelo que comin. Wagen is bij aan bikken robo, is bij aan bikken longen komen. Geen is a gago, gaan daar rota al zonoto, wenkie is het daarom gaan